Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and a happy spring break for everyone who's free finally from school. And before we start, make sure you like and subscribe to the video. It helps me out a lot. In today's video, I'll be setting up a shrimp tank. I always wanted to keep shrimp in my other tanks, so let's start small with our own little tank. I'll be using Equion 6-gallon frameless glass aquarium. I actually got this 70% off from my local pet store. They were having a $1 per gallon sale and I just couldn't resist. Without further ado, let's open this bad boy up. It comes with its own level mat, which I think is pretty neat. Though you won't worry about scratching the bottom of the tank, but since this will be going on my desk, I see very little use. Now this was the unusual part. I didn't even know what was inside the box to begin with, but that's what you get when you don't read the instructions or anything. What was inside the box was actually the glass top, which I didn't know it came with. Usually they sell them separately, but I'm glad it didn't with this one. Now remember, it is going to be small. It's not actually going to cover the complete top of your tank, since you do need room for your filter, lighting, and everything else. So just set it off to the side where it won't fall or get scratched. It'll also come with this bag full of plastic clips. This is what you'll be using to use your glass cover to keep it on top of your aquarium. Comes with instructions, but you really don't need them since it's pretty self-explanatory what they do. Okay, you should at least have 5, but you really need 4, but the 5th one is just for extra. I'll also be using Minso LED reading lamp. Since it is going to be a shrimp tank, they don't need a lot of light since the plants I'll be using are mostly moss. And here it is. I bought this some time ago since I really liked how it looked, a very nice sleek design. And of course the flexible neck was very useful and very handy. It also comes with a on and off switch, but there were 2 things I really didn't like about the lamp. Number 1 was this USB port type thing, instead of being a plug-in like most outlets are, but can't really complain, just get a box for it. Second was this bulky clip instead of a base like most lamps have. But despite those 2 problems, it's a very nice budget lamp, very sleek. It mimics the way a high-tech aquarium would be. Like this one on my 10-gallon, it's a very high-tech light, but I got it at a very cheap price. If you haven't checked out the video, check it out now. And of course, you can't forget the filter. This one's just a 10-gallon filter, really small. Since it is a 6-gallon, it's going to do more than enough to keep it clean. The 6-gallon cube is going to be right there at the corner of my desk, so while I'm editing, I can just look up and enjoy more of my tank. I wanted to see how the lamp would fit in the corner. Well, I just wedged it between the wall and my desk, which was pretty easy, and so far looking good. And of course, you can't forget the free mat. You have to use that. Now back to the tank. You want to take those plastic clips that were in that bag and that glass top that we set aside for. Now what you're going to do with these is you're going to grab your glass top and just clip them on each corner, pretty much on the side. It goes in easily like so. And boom, all done. And it should be all nice and flush at the front, but not in the back, since that's where the filter is going to be, and it needs a pretty good space for it. It also came with this strip of plastic. You're supposed to slide it behind the glass cover and cut off the excess, depending where your filter is. That's so it has access to get to your water. But it's way too small, and really my filter's way too big for it, so there's going to be little to no room for this thing. Let there be light! It looks really nice in the corner right there, so just seeing how it'll look with everything. Now let's fill up the tank. Adding fertilizer in underneath your substrate will benefit the plants greatly, but also I just use cheap organic soil, but it gets the job done. Next, you'll want to flatten it out. This is a technique I picked up, especially when you're making a sloping effect. So make sure you don't push the fertilizer all the way at the front of your tank, or you'll be able to see it. Now time to add the substrate. I decided to go with sand since shrimp go best in a sanded aquarium. They're all done. Now time to add in the hardscape. I'll be using these lava rocks I glued together for my hardscape, since the rest are actually little tiny bits I fortunately got for free. And I know there's other people who want to make their own hardscape, but they're very unsure what to use. And I can see why. It gives you a lot of creativity and a lot to work with, and what you really want inside your tank. And I've seen a lot of videos of making your own hardscape, especially for lava rock. Some suggest cigarette filters, but I see that as very unnecessary, since you could just glue it to the rock itself, then the cigarette filter. And others suggest silicone, but the silicone is way too long to dry. It takes way too long to dry. So I wanted a faster, quicker option. So I ordered from Amazon Glue Masters. It was highly recommended, and I can see why. This stuff actually works almost immediately, and it's also made for other crafting and whatnot things, but for the aquarium hobby, I would suggest this one. It's completely fish safe. I tested it, and this works a lot better than Gorilla Glue in my experience. I love this a lot. Now, when using super glue, you want something underneath because it can get a little messy if you spill. And you do want to wear gloves, but I don't because I don't have gloves. But if you do get it on your skin, don't worry about it. It will come off. Just run some cold water or hot water on it and it'll peel off easily. Also, when adding glue, make sure you don't do it right in front of your face because the fumes coming off the glue will hurt your eyes. I learned that the hard way. When building a hardscape, it's not something I can really tell you how to do. It's all of your creativity, but I can give you a bit of a basis of fitting it piece by piece. If it fits there, it probably will look best. Like this piece, it fits really snug right here, so I'm going to glue it and attach it the rest to my hardscape. Be sure to only add 1 drop, since the excess can drip onto your fingers and blemish the hardscape, making it look a bit ugly when it's in your aquarium. Then grab the piece you want to add on and place it there for at least a minute. There, all done. And once it's hardened, it's going to stay really sturdy onto your piece like it should be. Unlike most glue, I really love this brand of glue. Now it's time to add in the hardscape. I really like playing with it, so make sure you fiddle around and place it any way you think it looks best. And this is the result. I really like how it's turning out, and this is what happens when you do play around with your decorations like this. You get a whole new element to it. And here's the final result. I love how it looks. It reminds me a bit of a volcanic explosion, now a dormant volcano. It really looks nice. Now time for the filtration. The filtration guard was a little bit too big for this tank, so I had to take it off, but I have a little bit of sponge filter that I'm going to use, that's so none of the shrimps or anything else will get stuck inside. You usually do this when the filtration is a little bit too powerful for your liking and you can't control it, so you stick in a little bit of sponge filter to slow in the flow, but it can also be a safeguard to make sure you don't suck in any baby fish fry or even little shrimps. There, all done. Now you just stick it back into the filter and start. I just had a last minute idea of adding moss to my rockwork. Right here's just a little moss ball I had for a while, never did anything with it. I always thought of this, but it's easy to use. You just want to unravel it since it has been in a ball. They're not naturally like this, so you just unravel it and make it all nice and flat. Once you flatten them out like this, don't worry about the brown stuff. This is where you'll be adding your adhesive, your super glue to it, attaching to wood and rock. That's how they do it naturally. They'll attach themselves to wood and rock of streams and bottoms of other ponds and whatnot. Of course, you'll need your rockwork you'll be attaching to it. Lava rock is the best for this, especially for Java moss with all the course and holes they have. And I'll be cutting the moss into smaller little pieces for the rockwork since it's way too big, but I have seen people actually using them in trees and woods to make a nice flowing moss. Now it's time to add in the glue. Don't worry about it, it is fish shape and it will become completely inert when it hits water. And when I mean inert, it turns really solid like rock when it hits water. And here it is after adding all the moss. I also added in leftover gravel. I really like how it came out so far, and I can't wait for the moss to start growing more and more. It does take a long time, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be really worth it. But I am going to add more plants to it. I hope you guys enjoy and subscribe, and of course, I hope you guys enjoyed.